Hello, everybody. Happy rainy Wednesday. Welcome to another edition of Real Estate Untap. We have another special guest today, Nick Mowen from our team. Today we are going to be talking about VA home loans.
Yeah, we're going to talk about VA home loans today. Nick, actually, team member of the Marciniak Team, but he's a veteran. Some of you may or may not know that. And
Thank
Nick,
you for your services.
yes, thank you for your service, and every veteran out there. And VA home loans to me are one of the best loans out there you can possibly get because they have some. The product's unique. It's government backed. Number one. Number two. 0% down, so basically no down payment, whatever, to have a VA home loan. You do not have any type of private mortgage insurance along with it. And in Wisconsin, if you are a veteran and there's a disability percentage that you need to have, but if you're a disabled vet and up to a certain percentage, and again, I'm not 100% sure, Nick may know that, you can actually be tax exempt. So instead of paying real estate property taxes, let me rewind that for a second. You pay them, but it comes back in a form of tax return. So again, Wisconsin property taxes would be exempt for you. So it's a great program out there. Today we wanted just to bring this to light for some of our veterans here and basically let you guys know how a VA loan works, how to obtain it, and who qualifies for the VA loan.
Yep,
So
the process, the benefits, the pitfalls, and obviously, of course, if you guys have any questions, don't forget to chime in the question box. We're here to answer any questions that you might have. So with that being said, Nick, what you got for us?
So I would just say that in 2009, when I moved back to the United States of America after about 5 years overseas, my dad actually was the one, when I came back to Wisconsin, I was living in Nevada, he told me, why don't you buy a house? And I was like, well, Dad, I'm only going to be here like 3 years, and then I'm going to be gone from, Nevada. So I actually went, got it qualified with my VA loan, and while you're on active duty, you do get a housing allowance. So I actually went and bought my first house. Cost me no money down. I forget, it was a foreclosure house. I think I paid like $145,000 for the house. It was actually less than the rent I was paying, and I ended up owning that house for numerous years. There even was a time that I was maybe going to get deployed again, and I actually, to be safe, rented it for a year. But you do have to keep it as your primary residence, which I did. But then I actually ended up selling that and moved again, and I've used my VA loan three times now. So you can only have one active at a time. When it goes with the property taxes, you do have to be 100% VA disabled to be able to get your tax exempt. So you do pay your taxes, but when you go and do your tax return, you will get all that back. So I myself am tax exempt, so I do get that tax, I guess, relief I'd call, because you still do pay it. Otherwise, yeah, it's a great program. If you're active duty, guard, reserve, or if you've been out of the service already, very simple process to get you documents for it. And like you said, no money down is probably that's what got me. It cost me nothing to get a house. And
You definitely do have to make sure that you're eligible to use some of the programs, and there are, you can go to the VA and they should be able to assist you with the proper documents providing to them.
one of the big eligibility requirements is you need to have a honorable discharge, if I'm correct to say that.
Not dishonorable.
Honorable discharge is one of the keys to be able to obtain this type of loan.
Correct. That is correct. You do have to have that. So if you're out of the service, you just go to your VA login, your va.gov login, which if you don't use it, use it. There's also even an app. Your eligibility would be right in there, as well as your GI benefits, anything else that you do have. If you're active duty, then you would just go to your LES portal, your leave and earning statement. It would be in there. Your document would be in there as well. If you're in the guard, you would go into your guard unit, and as long as you have, I believe it's 90 days continuous service. So total in guard, it's one weekend every month. So as long as you build up enough time, you are qualified as well. So yeah, if you aren't using the program, it is good. Also, if you do have a home that is underneath a VA loan program, or let's say you buy one conventionally and you didn't know, you can also then refinance via VA loan as well. So say you purchased a home and you did a conventional or FHA, you didn't know about this program, you now can go back and refinance with a VA loan as long as you have a good lender.
Another good point onto that is if you are a veteran and you find another home that is veteran owned with the VA loan also, it is an assumable loan, meaning that you are able to assume that current mortgage and mortgage rates that veteran has. So in other words, if that veteran has a, let's say 4% interest rate, and rates are right now 6.5%, you can assume that 3% or 4%, I'm sorry, that other veteran has. So that's another huge benefit to the veterans and keeping that all-in cost low.
But again, you would have to make sure that you were eligible before you could do something like that as well. And you do have to have a job. You can't just say, well, I'm a veteran, I'm going to buy a house. You have to obviously have the proper
qualifying
qualifications.
features.
Yes.
Yep.
Yeah.
If you are retired or getting a disability pension, you can use that towards your income.
Yes, that would be considered income.
And not every lender does VA loans. And
Correct.
here at the Marciniak Team, we do have a handful of lenders that we'd happy to, give you their name and number and give them a call, and they can help you really walk you through on what they need to qualify for the VA loan. So again, that's something we offer our veterans to say, hey, instead of just going on a website, there's a lot of different companies out there, but again, remember, having somebody local that is here brick and mortar is going to make all the difference in the world to make this process not only easy for you, but make your offer attractable to the seller, that they know that, hey, we're dealing with somebody local here, again, not some other state, and again, your file's staying here. So even as yourself being a veteran, again, making this process as easy as possible. So again, happy to send you those contact information to you guys. VA loans in general, they also come with a little bit of negative, and I say negative because they are government-backed loans. They also have additional process here with the appraiser. Okay.
Same thing with FHA, which we've talked about.
Yeah. And again, broken glass, trip hazards, chipping paint, open junction boxes, handrails. Again, government backed, meaning that they want to make sure the occupant's going to be safe. So a little bit of a negative on the seller side, but again, we have some language that we use to make it attractable to sellers. And that gets, again, our experience of working not only with VA and FHA buyers, having that way to get around to make the seller say, you know what, I want to help our veterans. I want to sell my house to a veteran. I'm not a huge fan of the extra VA, per se appraisal, but again, we have some tools in our basically in our arrows in the quiver, let's call it, to assist with that to make it more appealing to the seller.
Yeah, and usually when it goes to like the appraisal, I think on one of my house once, like the fence, for example, the wood fence, there's one piece of wood that was touching the house and it just had to be cut off. I think it was like 2 inches. It was something so little, but it was something that obviously didn't hinder the sale. A lot of it's just basic things, kind of like your FHA appraisal.
Right.
Obviously, it is a program. They do want to use it, so they do try to do everything to ensure. But I mean, if you're, say, trying to find a house that, let's say, needs a lot of work entailed to it, it may not be, a VA, possibility if the roof is bad, everything's bad, the driveway's cracked, safety. You got to just think of the safety issues as the big thing there.
So something I just learned on a VA deal that I helped a seller with a VA buyer, and we talked about, again, the appraiser and some of the negative aspects of things. And believe me, the appraisers don't want to nitpick the house. They do not want to do that. They want our veterans to get in homes. But they made some rule changes as of late. I believe it's about a month ago. I was talking to the appraiser, met him at the home, again, service that we do for our sellers. And he said that one of the rule changes right now is that if the garage, and we always have problems with the garages and sheds that are not per se maintained like your regular home, if the garage is not attached to the home, it now is not part of the VA inspection. So if that detached garage has chipping paint on one side of it or all over it, it is no longer part of the requirements for the VA loan. So that is not an issue anymore, which it used to be a lot of times when we had detached garages. The other thing is a shed. The accessory, or we call outbuildings, are no longer part of that VA inspection. So that was huge to hear because, my seller was somewhat worried, and I reassured him and said, hey, guess what? Buyer's going to take care of some of the stuff or pay if that's the case. And the appraiser said, no, we don't care about it. It's outbuildings are not there. So that's huge for again, the VA buyers out there. And again, some of the houses that we look at and say, yeah, it's going to be a tough time qualifying. Now that's out there, now out of the picture.
Interesting. I did not know that. So we're all learning something new today.
And probably the one that's always there is the pest termite inspection is usually always required, which here in southwest Wisconsin, southeast Wisconsin, we're usually pretty good. But if you are in somewhere again, that is one that is always required. Is the pest termite inspection is required through VA. But I think in our area out here, we're usually there are 99.9% we're good. But again, that does protect you as a buyer. I mean, and again, I wouldn't feel comfortable you buying a house if it did have a lot of termite damage as well. So
you're right.
And that inspection is very cheap. Again, it's something that I believe checked in our box. Yes, we can either have seller or buyer pay for that. It's a couple $100. Some local inspectors do. We have a pest control company that does that too. But that is one of the other qualifications for the VA loan, besides the VA appraisal, is that termite inspection. But again, we've had only a few cases in Wisconsin, but it's still a needed document for the VA to sign off on it.
Yep. Okay.
Other things that I guess you could say we see. Anything else that Nick that you see? Again, being going through this process, helping a lot of veterans. I love helping our veterans. I've helped dozens and dozens of veterans. Actually, our whole team has helped dozens of veterans. Anything else that you guys see out there that a veteran should know? Again, we want to get them into housing. They actually have one of the least default rates out of all the loans out there. And that's, again, that's that military type backing to say, I'm going to be proud of what I own and what I do and make sure that I pay that thing. So I think that's a very interesting stat also.
I'd say probably one that I hear a lot is people say if they've used it before. So meaning like you can keep reusing your VA loan as long as you sell your primary residence. So if you're selling your home and buying another, you can use it again. So I think sometimes some veterans, who may have used it 20, 30, 40 years ago, don't think they can reuse it again. Like, no, you can continue. You can only have one open at a time. Always keep that there. So if say you do have a property and you do want to say move and retain that property maybe as a Airbnb or as a rental, you then would just go in and refinance it as a conventional loan to that, and then go buy your next primary residence. So let's say you wanted to move to Florida, or say you want to move up north to Oshkosh, but you want to keep your home here in West Dallas. You could then just go convert your VA loan to a conventional, or do the assumable. You could assume that loan, you could sell it as assumable to another veteran, and then you could go buy your next primary residence as well. So
it can be used multiple times.
Yes, you just can't have two open at one time. That's the key.
There are limits to pricing as well as
like $850. It's like over $800.
Yeah. So if you're a VA and you're a veteran and you're looking for that $1 million home, I don't believe you can use your VA benefits.
Yeah, I think as long as you put enough down.
I think it is $850 or $830 or something in that order.
Sure.
Yeah.
Sure.
Yep.
And my experience too, even with some of the local, and I say local, our branch is located in Minneapolis, Minnesota. As far as for VA, help with the housing aspect of things. Again, they're really easy to work with. I got nothing but good things to say about it. Very responsive. But when the government does shut down, unfortunately, VA loans get put on hold too. So be mindful of that if the politics come into play. But again, that's just mindful of that too out there.
Yeah.
But it's a great program, and again, our vets deserve the best. They deserve to be in houses. They deserve the benefits of the VA loan, and again, God bless them.
Yeah, definitely.
Anything else you guys want to talk about here?
Obviously, a couple tips for success. Work with lenders that are VA. They understand the VA process. as well as agents. You just don't want some Joe Schmo out there showing you properties, and yes, you do have a certain type of appraisal, but they might not be aware of that. Make sure they're getting pre-approved early. I know that a lot of lenders for VAs sometimes require a little bit more time because of the certain documents that you need.
Great point.
Closings sometimes take a little bit longer. Generally, I would say 30 to 45. I know that there's a lot of properties out there that want to do quicker closings, so obviously check with a lender that is able to make sure that they can accommodate that, definitely. There's definitely, like Nick said, resources for VA or for veterans. Go on, va.gov and just, check out what you could benefit from, what they offer for you.
Or even the VA app now. There's an app now. It makes it very easy. So it's one of those good things there. All your tools are there. If you're active duty, guard, reserve, you just log into your normal DoD login and have everything there. Otherwise, it's a very, very simple process, honestly. As long as you did your time correctly, you will be qualifying. So.
Yep, and Ellie made a great point. Time to FHA and VA loans, we used to say you need 45-day minimum. They've, I say they streamline the process, but I think it's with lenders who do it more often than other lenders that seller needs a quick closing. Our people can get it done, and again, a very quick timeline, and that's, again, the experience of that loan officer that we have here, and our loan officer is just being able to get it done in a faster time. And again, if you need the 45 days, great, but we can get it done in 30 days and make your offer stand out in today's marketplace.
Because I believe there is, besides your loan commitment within 3 days, there's a VA document that you have to have, and some lenders will forget to give you the VA one that goes with the closing disclosure form. I know there's a VA one out there that you have an extra layer there. So again, if you're not using a preferred lender who knows that, and they didn't give it to you with ample time, then it can delay it. So as long as you're using a local lender who knows VA, you'll be good to go.
Yep. We don't want to delay closing in this market.
And the pest inspection, not knowing that you have to do the termite, if you're waiting on that, obviously it's not a normal inspection most of our closings non-VA do have. So, if you're not on top of that and getting that pest inspection done right away, that could delay yours. So us, we know the process, so we'll definitely have the pest done right away, with home inspection, appraisal, we'd have all that done at the same time.
Yeah.
One thing the sellers need to be mindful of is you will get what we call a VA mandatory clause. And that document simply states that if the house is not appraised for the purchase price, that the VA does not have to give the loan to the veteran to be able to buy the property. Now, that sounds scary, but ultimately your offer is going to have a appraisal contingency anyways. Right. So it's I call the government extra paperwork for basically what you already have in the offer to purchase in the state of Wisconsin. It's reiterating that, again, it's nothing to be concerned about. It's another document, but it's just making all parties aware. And that's the VA mandatory clause, it's called.
Yep.
So that'll be something you will see as a seller and as a buyer, because you will sign it too.
And that's what you need to have, before close. So if you don't get that and you're expecting to close tomorrow and you didn't get that yet, now you've done. And that's where some of the stigmatization with, VA loans take a long time. It's things like that right there is a perfect example. If I'm selling and he's buying and neither of us have and we're closing tomorrow, we're not going to close tomorrow. Because you do have to, I believe it's 3 days on that one. I know there's a time.
There probably is a time. I don't know exactly, but at the end of the day, we got that clause after the appraisal took place.
Yes,
we knew it. We knew it hit value, and it's like, oh yeah, we need you to sign this. Yes. Not a problem. Again, I would back 10 years ago, I'd actually include that right away with the offer to say, just make it aware if you're signing the documents to accept our offer. Might as well just sign this one, get it out of the way, and move forward. And again, that's because we have the experience of working with these types of loans, and again, getting all these documents up front, so things can go boom, 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 smooth, and everybody looks like a hero at the end of the day. Buyer's happy, seller's happy, and we get another home sale done.
And I only know that from experience. So my first home was supposed to close on like a Thursday or Friday, and that was not done. And I had to wait the whole weekend well packed up and ready to move to close on the following week because I did not have the document wasn't locally here, this was in Nevada, but yeah, they did not provide that to me in ample time, and then I had to wait to review it in 3 days, so I actually had to wait till it was like Monday or Tuesday the next week to close, because yeah, it's a good time. So
Sure.
things like that of knowing the knowledge and making sure things are done, we'll definitely have you covered there.
Yeah,
That's why
absolutely.
Nick would be a great person to call on the Marciniak team. Again, being a veteran himself, using the VA loans multiple times. Again, we have the experience to work with all different types of buyers and the different types of loans that are offered out there to again get you into home ownership. So,
And I'd say probably the last stigma is if you do have a VA loan, you can refinance with VA again. So again, that's something where some people might have a VA today. Let's say interest rates are lower, lower, whatever it may be, you can refinance via VA. So if you have a VA loan, you can refinance. So
streamline refi with the VA, and it's simple.
Yes.
It's simple to do versus.
I've personally done it myself, probably 3 times. I think on every single home I've refinanced, and that's one again that people don't think that they can refinance because they have a VA loan and it's set because they were 0% down, didn't have a lot of money, income, whatever the case may be when they purchased their home. Yes, you can go back and refinance as long as you're qualified and get a lower interest rate. Or if you want a higher interest rate and maybe take some equity out of the home, you can do that as well. So again, having our local lenders to talk to you about that. Let's say you do want to do some remodeling, you can go back, refinance, take some money out if you want, or gift it to a child if, say, they want to purchase a home as well. You can do that as well.
Or maybe trying to go to college, get some higher education.
Anything you can do out there, but yeah, we're definitely a wealth of knowledge in that.
Any questions, Kevin?
I don't see any questions out there at the moment, but if anybody has anything that they want to chime in, feel free. Else, we'll let you guys go. And again, thank you for joining us here.
Yeah, thank you very much.
Again, the Marciniak team here, give us a call or email us, text us. We can definitely get you pointed in the right
Write us
direction.
down.
And one thing, make sure that there is no PMI with VA. We didn't cover that.
I did make mention that at the beginning,
good.
but
That's a very
bring it back up
important
again.
one before
So
we close out.
20% is a myth,
Yep.
basically.
Well, no, it's down payment.
Yep.
20%. You need $0 down for a VA loan. $0. Private mortgage insurance because you got. I'm sorry. Yes, you're right.
Yeah.
20%.
She's
20% down to get rid of private mortgage insurance.
Yep.
Yeah.
VA loans do not.
It's only on his first beer, guys.
And the reason it's
That's why we're
because-
married.
And that's the reason because VA loans are 100% backed by the government. So that's why you do not need that. As your typical loan isn't 100% back. So
What about a funding fee? Like, how does the funding fees work?
yeah, so there are some funding fees. Now the VA sometimes changes. You used to be able to actually load in your funding fees into your loan. So like I
thought
said, when
that you
I
could do
bought my
that.
first home, it was like I think I paid like $149,000. Again, this is going back years, guys. Those days are gone.
You're not
But
getting those.
yeah, this is a newer home for $149,000. But I remember my original loan was for like $153,000, and that's because I just loaded everything into the loan. Which nowadays, my age, I'd be like, well, why would I pay interest over 30 years on that? But back then, when I wanted no money out of my pocket at all, and I literally went to closing with nothing. I just went there, signed, and got a house. They have made some changes to that. I know that you can't load everything into the VA loan anymore, so there are some funding fees out there, but very minimum.
Yeah,
I
you're
do
not
know
talking
that-
about thousands of dollars.
I do know that sometimes you can ask the seller to cover that as well, depending obviously what kind of competition and stuff that you're in and what kind of market you're in.
Great point. And yes, we used to, again, back
I
in the day
believe
when
we
it was a
used to
neutral
do that.
market,
It's been a while.
we used to be able to ask the seller to pay the funding fee, not to exceed 1% or whatever number we want to put in there, which would allow, much like a closing cost credit, which would allow that money to be used to help the veteran get in the home. That can be done too. But yes, the funding fee is. I'm glad you brought that up. But it is in our offer to purchase. We can ask for a funding fee.
Correct.
Again, depending on what type of competition you have on the house. But that is another option. You can come with it out of pocket, or as Nick said, you can throw it into the loan. And again, our lenders can really pinpoint really what you need to bring in. And again, it's very, very minimal. Great loan program for our veterans.
I agree.
All right.
All right. Well, with that said, again, Marciniak Team, Real Estate Untap.
Happy Wednesday, guys.
Happy Wednesday.
We'll see you soon.
On tap.
On tap.
I need to refill my tap.
Oh. Not surprised.